Michigan Early Literacy Collaborative, 2015. This module addresses Common Core Standard RF12D. Readers can segment spoken single-syllable words into their complete sequence of individual sounds, or phonemes. In this lesson, provided in the module, the learning goal for students is: I can hear all of the sounds in a one-syllable word. Phonological awareness provides a strong foundation for future reading success. The ability to segment individual phonemes within a syllable shows that students are well on their way to being readers. A good resource for phonemic awareness is the book Sounds Abound: Listening, Rhyming, and Reading. According to Dr. Hugh Katz and Tina Williamson, beginning readers must gain a conscious awareness of the phonemes in words to learn to use an alphabetic language. This awareness of phonemes generally does not come naturally with spoken language development. In spoken language, speech sounds are produced and understood automatically, below the level of conscious awareness. Most preschool and kindergarten children lack an awareness of the individual phonemes in words. These children do not realize that words can be divided into phonemes. However, many children can divide words into syllables and have an appreciation of the fact that words may rhyme or have similar beginnings and endings. Developing a conscious awareness of phonemes generally requires some explicit instruction. Phonological awareness is an umbrella term that encompasses the ability to hear rhyme and alliteration, to count words and syllables, and to listen for onset and rhyme. Phonemic awareness is under this umbrella and specifically addresses listening to individual units of sound, or phonemes, within a single syllable. RF12D specifically teaches to segmenting phonemes within a syllable. Some first graders will find the skill challenging. According to Susan Barton, a lack of phonemic awareness is part of the research-based definition of dyslexia. This is the skill we should be testing for in kindergarten and first grade kids if we want to find the kids who are at the highest risk of reading failure, if you want to prevent it. In her webinar, Susan Barton describes how children with reading difficulties often speak quickly and sloppily. They think of words as whole chunks of language and are not aware that words are built from smaller units of sound. A large body of research suggests a high level of correlation and causation between a lack of phonemic awareness and future reading struggles. According to Keith Stanovich, phonemic awareness is more highly related to learning than intelligence, reading readiness, and listening comprehension. G. Reed Lyons says phonemic awareness is the core and causal factor that separates normal readers from disabled readers. Some, in fact most, first graders will be able to quickly pick up the skill of phoneme segmentation. But explicit instruction in a gradual release model is imperative for those who find it difficult. The goal of this phonemic awareness lesson is to develop our students' ability to pull apart or isolate and segment the phonemes within a single syllable. Students will need to listen with their ears to a one-syllable word. Then they will need to use Elkonin boxes or sound boxes to assist with stretching out the sounds so that each phoneme can be heard. They will play a dice game with a partner to practice the skill. Teachers will need to value the work of listening to sounds without the addition of print and understand how to teach phonemic awareness skills. This lesson will take approximately 25 minutes. In this lesson, students will need to have an awareness that words are made up of individual sounds. They will need to have a working knowledge of individual letter sounds and sounds of common digraphs. And they will need to be able to blend phonemes together to make a word. Phonological awareness lessons should be practiced frequently each week. This lesson is intended for an intensive small group. However, many activities in this lesson and in the resources are ideal for integrating throughout the day with the whole class as time allows. In this lesson, you will need an anchor chart, plus a copy of the anchor chart for partnerships, a stretching tool such as a slinky, the phoneme dice game, a die and 4 chips for each partnership. The lesson begins with explicit instruction of why we need to learn the skill. You might want to say something like, "Readers, remember how we have been learning that words are made up of many little sounds. We have been practicing blending sounds into words and noticing if sounds are at the beginning, middle, or end of a word. Today, I want you to practice stretching out words to hear all of the sounds that make up the word. When we can hear all the sounds in a word, we will be able to spell new words and be able to problem solve tricky words more easily. When you spell using the sounds in words, others will be able to read your lists, stories, letters, or texts." You can build interest by displaying the slinky, if you have used this before. Let's talk about the slinky again. Just like you can stretch out the slinky, we can stretch out words. Today I want to show you how to stretch out words so that all the sounds can be heard. We have practiced smooshing sounds together, and now we will pull the sounds apart. At this point, you will want to model for students how words can be pushed together and taken apart. For example, you could use the word run, a 3-phoneme word. Run. Run, run, un. You can model showing how to take a word that can be spoken quickly and stretching it out into its individual phonemes. The lesson continues with teacher modeling of the skill. Display a large version of the anchor chart. Demonstrate how you can use sound boxes. If you have not used sound boxes before, there is a modeling lesson available through Reading Rockets at the link below. Model several examples of how to use the boxes. Slowly stretch out the words so that each sound is clearly heard. Push a chip up into the box as each sound is pronounced. As a teacher, you have modeled the strategy for the students. Now it is time to guide the first attempts of the learners. You might say something like, "Let's try a few words together." Ask students to practice an example or two with your guidance. Here are some problems that you might encounter and need to support. You might have students that add the schwa sound to their consonants. For example, b, a, t. B, a, t will not lead to smooth blending of sounds. So we want to teach them to eliminate the schwa sound by just saying b, a, t. Also, some students have difficulty separating the vowel sound from the consonant. They might say something like ba, a, at. Assist them in cutting off the a from the b and just making that short clipped b sound. They can use the slinky to practice, and they can practice moving the chip into the boxes for the class to see. As a teacher, you've modeled the strategy, you've guided their learning. Now it is time for the children to practice with a partner. Play the Phoneme Segmentation Fluency dice game in partnerships. In this game, they'll roll a die. If they roll the 4, they will segment each picture in the row for 4. You can choose if you want them to have the anchor chart with the Alconin boxes to practice sliding chips, or if you want them to just orally segment the words quickly. The link reminds students of why we are learning the skill. During the link, review the anchor chart and the learning target. Remind students of their learning goal. You might want to say something like, "Readers, remember that the slinky is the same whether it is stretched out or put together, just as words are the same whether they are stretched out or put together. Being a good listener to the sounds and words will help you to read new words every day. All of these sounds we hear can be connected to letters or patterns of letters. Knowing the sounds and how to pull words apart will help you to be quick problem solvers with tricky words and be excellent spellers." If you would like, you may use the anchor chart and the magnetic letters to quickly demonstrate how you can map phonemes to symbols to make words. And now it is time for the students to process their learning during a Think, Pair, Share activity. During this activity, students will think about this question: how can listening to all the sounds in a word help you become an excellent speller and reader? And why is it important to listen to all the sounds in a word? They will discuss their thinking with a partner and share with the group. Following this lesson, provide an opportunity for students to demonstrate their learning with a one-to-one assessment. The teacher will need to listen to each child individually to assess if the skill is mastered. The assessment for this lesson contains 4 words with 3 phonemes, 3 words with 2 phonemes, and 3 words with 4 phonemes. The teacher should say each word clearly and quickly and ask the student to segment the word. Do not use picture cues to assist the student. Here are several resources to help build background knowledge of the teacher regarding the very important and often misunderstood skill of phonemic awareness. Further resources include links to samples and models, follow-up center or small group activities, and links to engaging sites and games for student practice. Don't forget to practice the skill throughout the day. Here are some ideas to get you started. RF12D. Readers can segment spoken single-syllable words into their complete sequence of individual sounds or phonemes.